Hi, I'm Terry Brock with TerryBrock.com. You know that social media is changing the way business is done today. It's a completely different model than what it was before. Now, instead of broadcasting out a message to a lot of people, you have to engage. You've got to listen to people, what customers are saying. A new book that I just read has got to be one of the best I've read ever on social media. And that's saying a lot coming from this jaded journalist myself who has read a lot of books on social media. This one is profound. It's called Socialized by Mark Fidelman. Mark Fidelman puts together a case that shows you what's going on, the picture, and he also gives a lot of step-by-step, here's how you do it, here's what others have done, kind of instruction. It's a must-read book, in my opinion. I want to go through a little bit of it here. Matter of fact, I got it on here on my Kindle. I went out and bought it on my Kindle software and read it on my Kindle for iPad, and I want to share a few excerpts with you as I go through the book here. As I type in a few, here's what I did, is I sat down and went through it, took some notes on here. I wish I could share the whole thing, but then we'd have a video that goes about 3 years long, and you'll just need to go buy the book. But let me share a couple things with you. For instance, starting here, where he says, to survive in this new age, because of the increased speed of change, we must learn how to evolve, there's an important word, our companies into highly adaptive organizations. Very important. Or be relegated to the ash heap of history's failed organizations. We've got to learn how to adjust to this new environment. If we don't, we're in trouble. In the book, Mark talks about how you can do that specifically. I love what he said here on a reference here that I want to go over to and share with you about growth. See, it's different than it was in the past. Growth is no longer the predictable result of a successful business model. It's no longer a linear path. If we do A, B, and C, then we get D. That's the way it used to be. Those days are over. Companies need to become more adaptive to external changes that impact their business model and become more skilled at profiting from them. But that requires that the CEO, this is important, CEO and senior executives support the cultural, technical, and process changes that need to occur internally. Interesting, and internationally too, but he didn't say that. We need to stay focused on the big picture, establish the digital village, resist the need to control, and lead the organization through change. Respect the requirements above, and you will build an adaptive growth engine to power your organization into the next decade. It is different. And by the way, Mark does talk about the international as well as the internal aspect. You see, it's a whole new way of looking at life. It's a way that's shaking up organizations. And so you need someone to help you through this. You need a guidebook, and Socialized is a good tool to do that. But I love the metaphor he uses here as I toward the end of the book, when I went through, and by the way, I read this book twice. It is so good. There's so much packed in there. I love what he says here about the future of business, 6 key trends. Listen to this. Successful businesses will operate more on principles of Moneyball, gaining a competitive edge by using analytics and evidence, and less by trial and error. This is where big data comes in. Big data of analyzing what's going on and not just going by, well, my gut says I think we ought to do this. Well, that's real good, Sparky, but your gut might be upset. And we need to go by what analytics say. Yes, we're going to go by your intuition and feeling that has been born and honed through years of experience. That is important. But the evidence and the analytics are what matter most. And here, I love the way he says this. We're going to diminish any competitive advantages, and they become ruthlessly effective at outwitting challengers. Crowdsourcing strategies with close partners and allies will become essential. This is a book that is a game changer. It's a book that you must read. Get it for your team, because they need to know this as well, how to make this work. And in the book, again, there's step-by-step guides on what you need to do and how to do it. The book is Socialized. It's written by Mark Fidelman. He's an author with Forbes magazine, so he knows what's going on. He's getting it on a regular basis, what's happening in the world, and he digests and distills a lot of it into this book so that you can get it in a real easy-to-implement way. I'm Terry Brock. Thanks for joining me, and I highly recommend Socialized by Mark Fidelman.